One, go.
Yes, welcome to a third world version of our show, Cyrus Says. And keeping in mind our standards are low, this is even lower because it's 10:06 right now for a 10 o'clock live. So we're 6 minutes behind, like any third world program in the old days. I remember the old Doordarshan color bars. The cricket match would start 16 minutes into the actual match, those kind of things. And as we welcome Vineet Bajpai onto the show, I'll just quickly discuss with him my little rant for the day, which is I've decided the problem with urban Indian men is we just don't like to ask for help. I've studied this because I am a psychiatrist of sorts. I'm in the social sciences. I don't have any degrees to prove it, but I spend the whole day looking at people, observing them, and sometimes stalking them without any sexual feeling. So for me, Vineet, I've just understood this. Perhaps you're not the right guy for that. I don't know if you are the person who does the same thing, but I've noticed that most men don't like to ask for directions. If something goes wrong, doesn't want to ask someone to help them. I was just with somebody and driving outside Mumbai towards Alibag, and the fellow just wouldn't ask for help. He would just insist on trying his GPS, which is going all over the place, and we just spent 1.5 hours extra at the end of the day. So I'm just very irritated with this whole thing, and I think some action has to be taken. And once the government solves the farmer agitation and deals with IT raids on leading film personalities, I think third in the line is the Indian men have to get a tutorial on it's okay to be helpless. We're all helpless. Sometimes you're helpless in the shower because you know which is the cold water, which is the hot water. I call room service. I call the housekeeping immediately in the hotel. I'm the only guy. The guy comes in. I'm wearing a towel, and I tell him, bro, I can't figure out hot and cold. It's just got arrows, and the colors are different from my culture. I can't understand it. So Vineet, I bored you to death with my stupid conversation, but in this there is a method to the madness, which is we should learn to ask for help and not be complex. Yes or no?
Yes, absolutely, Cyrus. And before I share my views on what you've just said, let me tell you what an absolute honor it is for me to be sharing the screen with you, because I've seen you and you've entertained us for so many years, and today being with you is so awesome. Of course, there are a lot of these new talk show hosts and
They're all
humors
bastards,
and
Vineet. They're all
artists.
bastards. Don't talk about
Yes,
them at all.
but precisely. So you're one of the original gangsters, and it's
Yeah.
really awesome to be with you. And talking about men not seeking help, by any chance, is your driver's name Shubkant? Because my when you were saying the ordeal about Alibag and not asking for help, I thought you were talking about my driver. So he's like that. He doesn't ask for help. He'll go round and round in circles, but I don't know what issue he has. So I think that's really the
No,
core
so
of
they
the
don't want to
problem.
admit, Vineet, they don't want to admit that there's something wrong.
Yeah,
They want
yeah,
to just say, look, we're sorting it out. It's a male ego thing. But if you just admit
yeah.
it's wrong in the initial part, we'll save so much time. Just swallow the bloody ego. That's my whole point here. I know my driver's name has changed to MC, BC, you bloody BC, your three generations of MC, BC. You have no, I'm sure you go through the same thing, but perhaps you don't voice it sometimes because the
Yeah.
class divide is anyway terrible. But yeah, okay, we won't harp on that because you've done too much with your life. And unfortunately, we have only like 30, 40 minutes to chat. Government restriction. Now, with the new rules coming in, I have to be very careful about everything we say.
And
We
rich people and rich artists like you have to be very careful nowadays.
rich artists, a
Given all
man.
given all the income tax returns, the raids and all that are happening. So just be very careful. I'm sure they have an eye on you.
If they raid me, I'll offer them my driver. That's it. That's all I got. You can take him and never return him. That's it.
And they'll
But
probably change their plans as soon as they see you're not even wearing a shirt.
yeah, exactly. Maybe that's the way for Bollywood to go. This is Salman never gets raided. Actually, you're right. Yeah, you see, I've learned from the best. Yeah, listen, bro. There's just too much. Now we have to start at the beginning, though. I want to find out about this. At age 22, Vineet Bajpai started a company. Is it pronounced Magnon or is there a
Magnon, yeah. The
Magnon?
neutron
Magnon.
put on Magnon, yeah.
No, from a small shed. This sounds like one of those Silicon Valley stories of the three big guys in America. It's exactly like that. So take us through what happened.
Cyrus, I would be lying if I say that it's not been like that. It truly has been. I was 22 years of age. I just passed out of my MBA, done working for another company for 6 months. I gathered 14,000 rupees, and at that time I felt 14,000 rupees was a lot of money for me to start a company, and that's really the initial capital that we started with. And there was this a very very nice human being, a great businessman in Delhi, and he used to have a building. So I went to him and I said, can you give us some office space? And he said, यार ऑफिस स्पेस तो नहीं है कोई, लेकिन हमारे छत पे जहाँ पे जनरेटर लगा है ना, डीजल जनरेटर, वो शेड के बगल में थोड़ी जगह खाली है. So I said, चलेगा हमारा वही. And we started in this burning month of May, the year 2000, and the heat of Delhi. So we used to be like you, just that we were a few of us together. So it used to keep things interesting. But but that's how we really started. But God has been kind, and Magnon today is counted amongst the top 10 advertising groups in India. We are part of the Fortune 200 Omnicom network, which majority acquired us in the year 2012. I continue to lead the agency as CEO and a significant shareholder. But really, it has truly been, like a fairy tale, and it's been an awesome journey.
But Vinny, here's the question. Obviously, all this is true, but just can you tell us how does that happen? How does a guy just sitting in somewhere in the heat of Delhi with 3 or 4 pals in a bloody shed on a terrace, in the month of May, go from literally just ideas to one of the biggest companies in advertising in the history of the world? It's mind-boggling, and I just want to know, how does it happen? Just for people who want to be inspired, because when they hear stories like this, I'm just hoping people think that it can happen, because most of us spend our lives feeling like losers, rightly so, because of the bloody guys not able to find the directions or reach the geographical destination of choice. But please inspire us. Be a Mother Teresa, but in the capitalist mode.
Cyrus, I think you're somebody who shares a similar journey. And I remember hearing your, a man's rise to nothing, your TEDx talk. And I think you've been through a journey yourself. I think
Vinit, I just lie. I can't even remember those. I've just been lying on TEDx. That's when they call me back, because it keeps changing the story. No, you're the real thing.
I can give you a reminder. It was one of those days when you're really building your body and you're really beefed up and all that. So maybe you should go back there, get some inspiration, for both.
Okay. So I'm looking pathetic is your point.
No, you're not. You're not. I won't comment much, because then a wrong message will go out, and we anyway started on a more romantic note than we should have.
We did.
So, yeah. No, but really, I think the thing that worked for us, there's no dearth of success stories in this world, and I think there have been people who have started with even lesser resources than I started with even more hostile environments, and they've created much bigger companies. So there's no dearth of such stories, but I think the thing that I can share is what worked with me was that very early on in my life, I decided to burn all my other bridges. I just decided that, look, this is what I have to do. A lot of entrepreneurs who start out, they also have, they keep doing a job. They'll say that, let me do a side hustle. If this starts working, then I'll leave my job. Otherwise, fit to job to hai, that kind of a stuff. But that's something that I decided not to do. And I just said that this is what I'm going to be doing all my life. I'm going to give everything that I have, to this company and to building this dream. And I will not let hardships, change that plan. So I think for me, two things worked, really in my favor. One, this decision to really, really stick to my guns and just keep, because it's like Thomas Edison. Even if I keep losing, I'll find 10,000 ways of, not doing it right. And the second thing was, I was very, very fortunate to be able to retain a very high quality team. Like you said, 3-4 pals, under a shed. That's really, really hitting the nail on the head. We were, 3-4 of us. To one of them, I'm married now. So that was my, when you don't have money, you do all sorts of things to...
Female pal.
Yes.
Yes, damn you, Vinny. There goes my dream.
I think you're not going to stop till you make me take off my shirt.
No, but it's just that when you said pal, I just presumed there were 4 guys, 4 guys from Venki's College, Delhi, hanging around, I don't know, having a good time, and suddenly they become billionaires.
We were fortunate. We had some kind of the other gender participating.
Better ratio than Mumbai.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So no, and like I said, I had no other way to retain talent. So so that's how it was. But yes, I also was blessed with, and I am blessed with a very, very tight team, people who are as capable as I am, and we've now spent the last 2 decades together. So it's these two things really, if you ask me, what worked for us.
Vinit, before we go on to the Vineet Bajpai story, and there's so much more, I don't know how I'll fit it in, but one thing, you've thrown a curveball to me actually, because our producer Silvery, Antariksh, his pet name is Silvery, we actually tell him the opposite. We tell him to keep this job as a producer here on the podcast and getting a salary, etc., and don't pursue your stand-up comedian dreams fully. You actually did the opposite. You just said, screw everything, I'm just put all my eggs in one basket. So in a sense, now I'll have to tell Silvery to quit. Silvery, if you're listening, you'll come in the second half. Please quit and go to night school and whatever it takes to become the greatest comedian ever. Is that the message?
Yes, and not just to Silvery. I would say that to anybody who's who has fire in their belly, who have a dream that they really want to chase. It could be anything, from being an artist to an entrepreneur to a scientist to a writer to a dancer, whatever. I think you don't have to be silly about it, because I also first completed my graduation, then I did my master's in business administration, then I worked for another company, got some kind of a resume value going, but then I jumped in, headlong. So I think that is very important. You don't have to be silly about it, but if you always keep thinking that you will jump into something full-time only once it starts showing signs of success, it's the wrong way of doing it. It will show signs of success only when you jump in full-time. So yes, you don't have to be silly about it. You don't have to take rash decisions. If you have family responsibilities and stuff like that, you have to look after them. One of the advantages with me was I was just 22. I was living with my dad, eating the food he provided, wore the clothes that he gave me. So that was, of course, an advantage that I had. But yes, how in this world where you're competing with, say, talking about entrepreneurship, when you're competing with people who are supremely talented, who have shark-like killer instinct, who have given everything, every hobby, every passion, every, entertainment just to build their companies, how can you imagine that you will do something on the side, compete with them and outperform them? It doesn't work like that.
So let's ask you a slightly, it's irregular question, I would think, which is how important is luck? Let's look at those who don't succeed. There are also Vineet Bajpayees who did a startup, do whatever they could, and then go through 5-6 businesses because each one collapses, and they keep trying. And then you keep hearing conversations amongst guys, especially saying कि luck नहीं है उसमें यार, अगर ये हुआ या वो हुआ, that kind of thing. That hard luck thing applies to bad experience. But do you think luck plays a big part, or are you just going to push that out of your head and have a tunnel vision for what you were doing when you did it?
Cyrus, I think anybody who just brushes away the role of luck would be a little unrealistic, because there's definitely an element of luck that comes in, but without sounding very cliched. And I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart with a huge amount of conviction. The line that you hear about, when they say the harder you work, the luckier you get. I have personally experienced this through my life. In the first 3-4 years of business, I used to feel that not a needle moves, till the time I really, give it a bottle of my own blood. Nothing used to, work in our favor. It was as if we were really trying to climb an Everest with a boulder on our back. But it started to change. And I really felt that the longer we devoted ourselves, the harder we worked on our company, things did start to move in our favor. And then there were certain milestones which happened and which took us from year to year, like in 1 year's time. And we felt, yeah, ye to pehle kabhi hua nahi hamare saath. But I think the law of nature, what I tell my team and now even my daughter is that, there are two things in this world which are like matter: love and hard work. They can never be destroyed. They only change form. They stay in the universe. You may not get it back right there immediately, but they stay somewhere in the universe and they come back to you just when you need it the most. So when they say that, Warren Buffett says it's not timing the market, it's time in the market. Today Shiv Nadar, who's the founder of HCL, he started so many businesses and failed. I think the important thing is to allow life the opportunity to take you through a curve. You cannot expect to get into a business or get into something and say, "Yaar, 2 saal dunga." Yaar, 2 saal mein nahi hota hai, But if you give life the opportunity to take you through the hardships, take you through the difficulties of the beginning, it does turn around and it really does start working in your favor. So luck happens, but it's not only luck. It happens after a certain amount of hard work has been
but
injected.
It looks like you're like the Sachin Tendulkar story from a advertising business background point of view, in the sense that like a prodigy, 22, it happens quickly. So did you really go through a period like many others go through? Who was it? One of these guys you mentioned, was it Warren Buffett or whatever, says you have to fail many times in business before you actually succeed. But Vineet seems to have had a very quick run to success.
So first of all, Cyrus,
and I'm talking to you in third person for some reason. I apologize.
No.
I've lost my mind. Yeah.
No, but what you've just done is you've just made the year 2021 better for me. And now I'm going to use this quote, and it's on recording, so you can't go back. Where Vineet Bajpayeee is quite like a Sachin Tendulkar story, Cyrus Brocha. So you've given me like the best. You've given me the best media quote of my life, and coming from you, it means a lot. But thank you very much. It's
But you know what I mean, because you don't have to be modest about it. It is at 22. I went through a lot of references. There's not too many people in the entire world at 22 who basically get into the game and then quickly get success. They may start young. There many have started younger also, but they don't get the success. It's almost you seem to have had one of those career paths like him. Hence the analogy where he gets in, he plays for India. Within by the 10th test, he's got his first test century. No looking back. Then you play for the next 45,000 years, which is the Vineet Bajpayee story. God bless.
So kind of you, so kind of you, and coming from you, it means a lot. But I would just like to quote the CEO of LinkedIn over here, where he says that to be an overnight success, all you need is hard work, perseverance, and 15 years. So the idea is that where I am today, I am 43. I've worked for 21 years. So, so what looks like maybe, a fast success story wasn't really like that. From 22 to 32, for the first 10 years, nobody knew who I was. There was no dent we made in the industry. But sorry, are you saying something?
No, I'm just saying by 2012, you're ready to flip the company. I mean, that's really quick. 10, 11 years,
yes,
it's already a super success. I mean, you could have changed, you could have got into cuisine or something, at that point. Anyway, he's a very young man. You could have changed career paths. And
in 2012, when I first got a phone call from, this massive US multinational giant, and they said, we're really interested in your company. So I actually looked at the phone, लगता है गलत number मिला इनका कोई. So I tried to clarify, look, I don't think we are what you think we are. But sometimes what happens is that, because you've been involved in building and creating something with so much passion and involvement, and you're inside the picture frame, you don't really know how far you've traveled. You don't know what you've actually succeeded in creating till the time somebody from the outside comes and says, hey, all those 12 years that you devoted, they weren't a waste. You've actually been able to create something. So that was really awesome. And and in 2012, it wasn't just Omnicom. There were two other, US-based Fortune 200 kind of companies who were chasing us. So we were spoiled for choice. We had, offers from all over. And more than the monetization, more than the money that came with it, more than the, the fame and everything, we were on the homepage of Economic Times. We were on the cover screen of home screen of NASDAQ. So all of that happened. But more than that, I think what I got was a huge, deep sense of gratification that, look, we've really created something. We've really created value. All those struggles, those bitter arguments internally, delayed salaries, not being able to pay bills on time, all of that hardship that we went through, it wasn't for nothing. It was all directed towards creating value. And that was, I think, for me, the greatest takeaway from the 2012 transaction.
But I like the point you've just raised, which is that when people tell you from outside, your perspective changes. Very often you're in your own world and you don't see it until someone from outside gives you a twist or a perspective, how they're seeing rating you or what you've done. Because for me, this is the same thing. I may talk to, as a young boy, I get to speak to Amitabh Bachchan for the first time, so I come back, full of, my head in the sky and all that. And then I come in, my mother starts screaming at me for leaving the geyser on. So you come back to earth quickly. And I'm like, Amitabh Bachchan ke saath baatcheet hui. And you're like, shut up, you're fucking leaving the geyser on. The building would have gone off, So these lovely moments where, you both ways, where you, from one side, you get a lot of, praise or another angle to it. And then back to earth from, people close to you. But Vineet, this is a fabulous story. Sadly, we have to move it along to your second avatar because you, like an idiot, have decided to go and succeed in another area, which obviously I think you're the guy we should take stock tips from because you seem to be, touch wood, a very lucky. I reached for my chair. My hand went down when I said touch wood. I reached for my chair. I will replay this highlight for you. Chair handle. Don't come back to me on
especially
that.
After the fashion statement you've been making.
I know. They can put this together as small clips and we look like the worst perverts the world has ever seen. So again, success there. My point is to take stock tips from you because you seem to also, that's why I mentioned luck also, I'm not taking anything away from you, but there are some people who are like Destiny's Child, again, the Sachin mention will come. They just seem to have a path which, they just go forward. And of course, there's struggles and there are bad moments. I'm not denying that you're a human being. But at the end of the day, when you look back at your life, it's almost, I dare say, perfect. Now let's move to the second part, which is how did you become an author?
Yeah. So, Cyrus, can I just, one little comment on what you've just said? A lot of times, when we look at Cyrus Broacha, what we look at is this guy who's hugely successful, People across 3 generations know his name. He's been on screen ever since we remember. Like I said, the original gangster, the first guy to have the guts to wear Bermudas and come on national TV, and all sorts of things. But Cyrus, only you know the real struggles that you've gone through. Only you know it's not been such a cakewalk as it appears to people watching your smiling face and your super awesome jokes. And people probably think, yaar, isko kya hai? Ek din TV pe aaya, dekho 20 saal se TV pe aa raha hai. But you know what all you've gone through. So, the same story is my case. And I have absolutely no qualms in sharing that I've had my, share of, I would say, struggle or the proverbial whatever we went through, and not just in business, even personally, working so hard for so many years with so much, passion. I had high cholesterol when I was just 31. I had an anxiety attack when I was 38. So I've got all the medals. I've got everything that comes with the, with a good success
Death
story.
by success.
So, sorry?
Death by success is what it's called.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the other flip of the whole thing. So,
I hope it doesn't go all the way there. But yes,
I'll be touching wood. Sir, I'll be touching wood. Don't worry. I'll be touching wood everywhere.
Yeah. So, so I think it's not just about, me becoming an author. I have, I would just say that every time somebody has a weekend, extra, they go and watch a movie or they go out with friends. I do that once in a while. But, I really try to be gainfully occupied in many things. And I must tell you that even before, the author story comes in, and because it's very related to, the sector, the industry that you work in, I'm building a second company. It's called Talent Track. And it is, at this time, we've been at it for the last 5 years. And at this time, it is the largest online casting platform for the media and entertainment sector. We have more than 400,000 artists across the board, actors, singers, models, dancers, writers, directors, photographers, all of them, with us. We've got more than 15,000, registered recruiters, which range from the biggest of production houses, filmmakers, television channels, radio channels, all of that. We pioneered the first awards for digital content in India. Today, you would see that, there are other people who are also doing it, but Talent Track Awards was the first, really organized awards for digital content, and people like Manoj Bajpayee and Jackie Shroff and Ekta Kapoor and, the whole of that community, we've got a huge amount of support from them. So it's, I think, not just about my first company or about Talent Track or about writing. I just feel that all of us have a limited number of years, to live. I could spend that, doing, what a lot of, I get a lot of advice on work-life balance, and, Vineet, you work too hard and you do too many things and you should do something else. But the point is, I get huge amount of entertainment in working hard and in building, companies of value. And imagine the gratification, Cyrus, if the way we are progressing, another 4 to 5 years time, Talent Track is going to be an application, a mobile app, which every casting director of this country is going to have on his phone. It is going to sweep casting, and we are not going to be competing with casting directors or casting agencies and coordinators. We are going to be their friends. We are going to facilitate things for them. Imagine the gratification. This is going to be a company which is going to stay in this world long after I'm gone, and my team is gone and all of that. So writing was, just one extended part of that exciting journey.
Just one quick question, but will the talent that you manage, will they be taught how to file their IT returns and all that? Because now, obviously, it's not easy to just have the talent itself. There's lots of things that come with the territory.
Yes, so I think now we will have to introduce that. We help them with value-added services. If you don't have a portfolio, we'll get you one. If you need a makeover artist, we'll get you one. Now I think we'll get chartered accountants and company secretaries and, some
maybe censure their,
and all of those.
Censure their social content as well. What goes up sometimes, because you have to remember whether it'll work the next day or not. Okay, so God, I'm sorry, I apologize for forgetting about the talent company. But you, like I said, you just got too many things. You can't blame me. You should have done less in life, and the podcast would have been more quality. Now we have to put everything in, and we can't talk about things in detail. But what's fascinating is obviously there's a creative side to you. Got into advertising. There's nobody in advertising doesn't have a creative side. I get that. But there's the Harappa trilogy and the fiction side, the arty side, there's also the self-help defining book side. So which is very rare. You rarely get a person who can write on both these sides, because one area is always stronger than the other. I would use a famous Chinese proverb which goes something like this, which basically means your right nipple is bigger than your left. But you've got this. Yeah, I know. Disregarded. This. I'll just touch wood to save time.
Yeah.
So, honestly, tell us, Vineet, how did you? What kind of mind? It's a very interesting mind that you have. You can actually have the left brain and right brain working, like Shiv Sena and Congress and NCP in Maharashtra happily.
Well, so far till your last statement, it was all coming together.
Now you're worried.
till you. No, but thank you very much for saying that. And I do sometimes feel that God has been really kind to me. And I think what also happens is that जब आपको किसी एक चीज में सफलता मिलती है तो it gives you the confidence to be able to explore new things. You know, once you feel that, okay, I tried this, I started this, look what a wonderful story I've been able to create, and then you अपना आप मन टटोलते हैं and you try to find कि यार और क्या talent है. And your earlier success gives you the confidence to to also explore other faculties of your personality. So you're absolutely right. I started with writing business books. My first book I wrote when I was just 25, back in the year 2004, when I just started my company. We'd spent 4 years building it, and it started making money. And I remember the frustrations of being a first generation entrepreneur and not knowing anything. My father, retired from the Indian Air Force. So I was from a typical Fauji family. Nobody even the extended family had even a pan ki dukan. So we were as far from business as can be. So it was a frustrating time because I had nobody to help me. The 3-4 pals that you're talking about, they were even younger than I was. So there was no hope for help from there, while they were very committed. So in 2004, I felt, यार कितने लोग होंगे मेरे जैसे जिनको बेसिक्स भी नहीं पता है कि बिजनेस प्लान कैसे बनाते हैं, VC को कैसे अप्रोच करते हैं, रेवेन्यू मॉडल क्या होता है. So that's when I wrote my first book. That one, of course, I must confess that I wanted to be known as a writer, and he's written a book and all that. But I also had this deep desire that there are these people who can really pick up this handbook and cover the journey that I took 4 years to cover in probably just 4 hours. So that's how the book writing journey started. I wrote 3 business books till the year 2016. And then something really nice happened. I really started seeing, a lot of very exciting work being done in India on the fiction side. It was very exciting to see that we didn't just have to depend on, Percy Jackson and the whole Greek mythology kind of zone. And India was really creating its own writers, and a very fresh kind of literature was coming up. And while I respect those writers hugely, immensely, and their huge success stories, when I read their stories, I felt what is happening in India was that a lot of, especially in the historical and mythological thriller or fantasy genre, which is where my fiction books, Harappa trilogy and Mastan trilogy, they are both in that zone. What I felt was that all the authors, like I said, they're awesome authors, but they were interpreting.
We won't mention Amish Tripathi and Ashwin Sanghi here. We'll just not get into that. We'll just go.
No, I have so much affection for both of them. Ashwin is a very dear friend of mine, what I felt was that the writing that was being done was just interpretation and reinterpretation of existing characters in Indian history and mythology. So there is interpretation of Shiva and Vishnu and Ram and Sita and Ravan and Ashok and Chanakya and Chandragupta Maurya and all of that, which is great. I felt, okay, that's what this country and this democracy allows us to do, to interpret and reinterpret and write about our gods and about our mythology the way we like. But what I also noticed was that there were no new characters being created. So when you have a Lord of the Rings, when Tolkien writes Lord of the Rings, you've got this whole period world, but it's an absolutely new canvas. So which is where I felt that I wanted to write mythology and history books where there is a backdrop, a huge backdrop of mythology, fantasy, legend, history, everything from the Knights Templar to, Noah's Ark to Hindu mythology to the vanishing of the Indus Valley civilization. Was there really an Aryan invasion or not? Was there really a Saraswati river or not? So all of that historical backdrop is there, but the characters, the story, and everything is absolutely new. And you would be very happy to know that one of the largest production companies in India have taken the screen rights of the Harappa trilogy. And we are hoping to see either two big films like Bahubali 1 and 2, or a 3-season web series being made on the Harappa trilogy. So it's just been an absolutely entertaining and exciting journey writing.
So Vineet, it's a good time for me to send you my portfolio for the Harappa trilogy. I can play any character between the age of 30 to 50 with or without a t-shirt. I can ride a horse. But there was no horse yet. Was there a horse? Harappa?
Oh, yes, several.
There was a horse. Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's great. The horse also stops me walking. Because,
Yeah.
Otherwise, Indian heat, Harappa civilization, up and down India and Pakistan, modern day, no, too much for me. Take my portfolio back. But let's quickly, again, running out of time, have to take a break. But 2 minutes quickly on the next book, book of fiction, which is it's something to do with Haji Mastan, is it?
No, it's got nothing to do with Haji Mastan. Like I said, I don't interpret existing characters. So this is basically, again, a period drama, action thriller written in the backdrop of the Great Mutiny of 1857. Like some people say it was a great mutiny. Some people say it was the first war of independence. It was, a mass movement against an imperialistic, conqueror. We didn't have the romance of the French Revolution. We didn't have the, the literature of the Bolshevik manifesto, but it was a national movement. Entire northern India came together. So I felt that it was a very understudied, historical backdrop. So Mastan is a character, a terrific character. When you read about him, he's got, a very colorful, fellow. So he's the central protagonist, and there's a trilogy. So Mastan is the central character, and which is the first book of the trilogy. And then there is 1857, and then a third book.
The trilogy. You've had 3 companies. That's a trilogy. You've got 3 books, and then another 3 books. Everything's in threes. Is that just coincidental?
And we have 1 daughter, so our family is also 3. So I think that's a trend I never noticed. But thank you very much. Thank you very. You've just made me superstitious. Now every time I try to do a 4th thing, I won't do it because
My God, really. But that's the problem with success, no? Then suddenly you do get superstitious. Oops, ouch. I retract my statement. I put my hands back where they belong on the wood. Vinay, we have to take a break because we want to do the AMAs. Obviously, you're going to be the kind of people who hopefully listen to our podcast. You're the kind of person who's going to really inspire them. So I'm expecting a lot of people to write in and say, Vineet, how do I become a millionaire? And you must be getting this all the time, right? Sir, success ke liye main kya karu? Safalta ke liye kya karu? You must be getting this. I'm sure even people in a way must be subtly asking you this.
Yes, and I think it's a privilege. I welcome, and if I can...
You don't say refer to book number 3, page 72, paragraph 4. It will tell you everything.
Sometimes I do, believe me. So...
Yeah. All right. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, Silvery, who wants to be a comedian, but we've stopped him by saying he has to work a full-time job and do it only on the side, will argue his point with Vineet, who says, screw it. Just go for the one thing that you want to do and let destiny take its course. All right. We're taking a break. Vineet Bajpai when we come back. Silvery, please bring yourself onto screen. Vineet, our breaks are a joke. Huh? This is it. It's only to bring this young man on. So Silvery, you're on. Vineet is
Sorry
right
if I quit.
there.
I quit. This is
because I'm giving you a lecture. Because I've given him the middle class, sort of line about it. The way my parents would have spoken. Probably his parents also would have spoken to him.
Yeah.
Which is, bro, safety first and all that. Keep the job. You got a decent job. Blah blah blah. Lockdown happened. That's a slap on the face. You know what life is really like. But on the other hand, his core wanted to just drop everything and just make, because it's night work for them. They gangsters and prostitutes only work in the night. But gangsters and prostitutes work much longer and have a greater body of work. Comedians, they come and go. So, I don't know. Would you like to ask Vineet anything before you go to the AMAs?
So the thing is, this has come up. That is obviously this discussion comes up quite often because we all think about, man, just to be able to quit a job and just to concentrate on comedy full time. But other comedians who are established also tell us, no, you keep a job right now because you won't be earning through comedy for a while. So keep a job right now, and when you do start earning in comedy, then you quit, which is fine, which is fair. That makes sense to me at least.
But it's like
what do you think, Vineet?
Antithesis of Vineet's thought, which is you can't do both. You can only do one.
And Cyrus, I would just share my own example. And I think, Silvery, the very important thing to understand here is that a lot of people, and especially youngsters, feel that professional and personal lives are two different, patries, and, the decision making is very different. What is very important to understand is that, you really have to take professional decisions, and especially bold ones that we are considering, based on what your personal life is like. Are you married? Do you have children? Do you have a family to support? Or if there is a period of if there,
He doesn't have time, Vineet. He works in the night. He doesn't have time to make children or anything. He's on the stage to entertain 7 people in lockdown.
So, but what I think Cyrus is telling you is something I tell a lot of writers. A lot of writers come to me and say, मैं नौकरी छोड़ के लेखक बनने वाला हूँ. And I tell him that यार पूरे हिंदुस्तान में अगर किसी ने actually पैसे कमाए हैं तो वो अमीश त्रिपाठी और चेतन भगत. 1.4 billion लोगों के देश में only 2 writers have really made money by just writing. So do you really want to take that chance? So, I think it's horses for courses. There's no right or wrong answer. It's where you are in your personal life and responsibilities. It's the kind of work that you're looking to do. Yeah, but the only central point that I would want to drive here is don't keep waiting, because life has a strange way of, it's like me trying to build my body. I've been planning it for the last 15 years now. And every week I wake up thinking, but next week se mera start ho raha hai. But
I'll argue that point. Vineet, I'll argue that point. You're a very mentally strong man. So you're talking nonsense. We all know that you don't care enough to do it. Because whatever you've done, you've succeeded in, which tells you, listen, I deal with people coming to the gym every day, so I know you're not interested in it yet. If you really were, the real Vineet Bajpayee will take over. And then your body will be built. Everything will happen.
I'm going to take this as huge inspiration, Cyrus. Thank you for knocking that.
You know that. Whatever you put your mind to, you do it with a single-minded focus. That's why you are where you are. That's why we want to let people share your journey and say, okay, we'll become, if not Vineet Bajpayee, we'll go in that direction. Who knows, something good will happen. Silvery, start with a shed in Delhi. Huh?
Yeah.
Just need one small, 200 square feet or something. Marry your partner, male or female.
Oh, immediately.
We are not judging.
Okay.
And remember that
talent
everything is in
retention
threes.
for life.
Yeah, everything is in threes. We tell him that also. You can have
3
only one
marriages?
child.
Okay, fine. Okay.
I think he's already crossed that limit because there's nothing much to do in lockdown. Ladki to gayi, but the others will come. No biggie. Okay, AMS, sorry.
All right. Let's get to the AMS. We got some really nice and funny ones also. We got some sincere ones. So let's start with one of the funny ones. Kashin Shetty asks, hello, Cyrus and Vineet. I haven't read the Harappa trilogy yet, but is the protagonist mostly topless, and is Cyrus slyly auditioning to play the part?
A lot of, I don't know about Harappa, but in mythology, a lot of our heroes because of the heat, you're fighting in the sun in, say, Panipat or, Kurukshetra, these kind of places in the hot sun. Why would we be tied down with huge armor and all? It makes sense to free yourself a little bit.
No, but Silvery, to answer the question, the central character of Harappa trilogy is somebody who has been absolutely loved. If you go to various social media sites, all those sites that write reviews about books and all that, especially the ladies have loved him so much. I've got messages on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram where they're telling me that with Vidyut you've raised the bar for men so high that I don't think any man is ever going to be good enough for me. Even the cinematic representation that we are planning, or the web series that we are planning, and the discussions that we have internally, Vidyut, who's the central character, is somebody we speak about all the time because he is so compelling and he has already garnered the love of lakhs of readers that, it is truly a character that we need to focus on. Whether Cyrus fits the bill or not is something I think we'll have to, discuss offline. But to answer the question,
Vidyut will be from a royal family, I presume, or reach some king-like status. He has to have some chelas. This is India. Fiction or non-fiction, you have to have chelas. Piche background mein hoga ya nahi hoga. Then 2 of us can fit in, Silvery. What do you think?
Yeah, sorted.
Shirt or no shirt depends on budget.
I'll be number one
budget
chela,
hai, to shirt hoga. If budget nahi hai, to shirt nahi hoga. Bas.
No, I'll also be your chela. So we'll try and get you
3. We've done it again. 3.
Nice.
2, 3. Point to note. Okay. Yeah.
A follow-up to that question is Kashin Shetty's only. He says, speaking of topless, in the old days, men would mostly go to work topless, which made sense because of India's humidity. Have shirts ruined the modern working man's rhythm and flow? What do you think?
Is that true? There would be something on. I don't know. It's a tough question. Historian G.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. It used to be called an Angavastram. So it would be like a linen cloth, but it would cover the modesty of the, especially the men who didn't have, six-pack abs and all that. So I would not say shirts have come to spoil anything. I think shirts have come to the rescue of men like me, who have at least a parda between me and the rest of the society. So I think even at that time there used to be this Angavastram.
This is
Today
a
we have shirts.
very scary trend back in the day, because if normalcy was ki without shirt, then the exhibitionist amongst that group would definitely be without pants. How does he make a point?
Yeah.
How does he make a point?
Yeah. So
It's very sad.
that was like the less is more strategy. You can really see a bit of me, and the rest is to your imagination.
I'm giving you ideas for Harappa trilogy. You can appeal to
Yes.
very different audiences now. Just think about it.
I know.
Silvery, next.
All right, next one comes in from Rohit Sharma. Hey again, Rohit Sharma. He says, "Does
Still
the
batting, I
stereo-
think. Huh?
Yeah, okay. Does the stereotype of ad agencies being an easygoing workplace with no uniform, free work schedule, etc., still hold
Super.
true, or has it become
Super
more
question.
corporate?"
Vineet, you answer this because you are the new age advertising agency that you create.
You know,
Although I worked
it's,
in one.
advertising unfortunately has been done a huge amount of injustice by the most popular serial Mad Men, because they
Ah.
show all those guys, they're either drinking, they're either smoking, or they're either having extramarital affairs with their secretaries. And believe you me, nothing could be further from the truth.
It's worse
So
than comedy.
anybody-
It's worse than comedy. Huh?
So anybody who thinks that advertising is easygoing has to only spend one day in an agency chasing a target, working on a client campaign, especially in Diwali time. If they come in Diwali, New Year, Valentine's Day, Holi, this period, believe you me that you will be amazed. It's advertising is not one of those businesses where we have these big parties and we are making out on the printer and stuff like that. It doesn't work like that. But to answer your question more seriously, you will be amazed at the talent that the advertising industry has. You will be amazed at the value that they create for themselves and for the brands that they work with. My own company, Magnon, we work with 7 of the Fortune 100 brands of the world, and we take a huge amount of pride. And you can imagine how demanding those brands can be. So there is no question of the business being easygoing. There's no question of it being anything to do with an easy life. And the kind of people that are there in advertising, the kind of talent that industry is filled with, you will be amazed. So I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but advertising is not, what the perception outside is. It's a very serious business. Today, some of the biggest brands that you see in the world, right from Apple to, to today maybe
IBM.
Byju's or a Swiggy, all of those brands have a lot to thank advertising for, because they are there in consumers' minds and perceptions because a certain brand story has been conveyed in the right manner. So it doesn't happen, like I said, we are not like making out on the printer and writing copy with my right hand. It doesn't work like that.
एक बार तो हुआ ना सच बताओ एक बार तो हुआ ना
नहीं प्रिंटर पे नहीं हुआ प्रिंटर तो कमजोर सा होता है
After all, you're a good Delhi businessman. Don't destroy the infrastructure
प्रिंटर
while
नहीं
you're
खराब
making
करने
out.
का प्रिंटर
fair
नहीं
enough.
खराब होना है
Fair enough. Accept it.
लेजर
Accept
प्रिंटर
it.
है यार लेजर प्रिंटर है यार
There you go.
Yeah.
You got to get your priorities right. You can't replace the printer. You can replace her. Sorry, we're going to get
Okay.
fired.
All right.
Sylvie, next.
Next one comes in from Anish Shashidhar Bharadwaj. He asks, question for Cyrus and Vineet: who is the one entrepreneur who you really admire the most, and what makes them special to you? You can give an example: one Indian and one international is what they've asked.
Oh, this is
If
government
possible.
regulation. एक देसी तो करना पड़ेगा नहीं तो. Vineet,
Cyrus,
good
do you
question
want to
for
take
you.
that first?
You please. Mine are all nonsense answers.
Okay, so for me, I think the two entrepreneurs would be, number one would be Elon Musk, because I don't even have to talk about him, because there's already so much out there about him. It's just that what I've seen or what I've followed Elon Musk over the years, it's just been so inspiring. To see a person who really has committed himself to not just creating value in terms of money. He very famously says that Silicon Valley has changed, where value is just being created by 150 characters. It was his take on the kind of startups that are coming. But he's actually someone who's trying to convert us into a multi-planetary species. He's somebody who actually believes that, the earth can be protected by using green fuel. So he's somebody who's not just created an enormous amount of wealth. He's not just inspired probably billions of people across the world. He's actually, doing something which can be meaningful for the entire human race. And the Indian example is going to be, and some people may find it really strange, but it's going to be Dhirubhai Ambani. Ever since I was a child, I've been following his story. And for a petrol pump attendant to build Asia's largest petroleum company in one life is something that's unheard of. So I think these two would be my answers.
Wow, Sylvie, do you have anybody you look forward to?
Elon Musk definitely is right up there.
For me, okay, go ahead, finish. Indian?
Indian, I can't think of.
So
Vineet Bajpayee.
Vineet Bajpayee. Well, good save.
I know.
Good save.
Thank
You
you,
go on his
thank
talent list. This has been just a praise after praise show for the Vineet. Can't believe it. He's like,
No, actually,
I can't believe it, really. Yeah, I know.
Actually, I should say I have used Talent Track quite a lot. I've gotten some work from Talent Track also.
Oh, how
There you
wonderful!
go.
How wonderful! It's so good to get endorsement from an active user.
Yeah.
And to get a plug like that, which is real, because we couldn't have even rehearsed it. That's really good. Good stuff. I'll just quickly give you mine. I think for me, the foreign guy would have to be Hugh Hefner. Because, he's an entrepreneur too, whether you like it. It's between him and the hustler guy who just passed away, Larry Flint. Great. They just helped me through my teenage years. Well, I can't lie. They're still helping me through my years. It's a lot of respect. But they built empires.
But after all, you don't have printers in your office. So what do? You have to rely on...
I come from a generation where the visual is to be, this is going to sound vulgar, to be held. I mean, this, Hustler magazines and Human Digest, you picked it up with your hands. So it's like how I like to read the TOI in the paper and not through the the screen. But there are people who will argue that point. For India, I'll go with.
I'm glad you're not touching wood while talking about those magazines.
I won't, because the next name I'm taking is very politically aligned, so I can't take any chances with disrespect. Baba Ramdev, and I'll tell you, I'm not joking about that. I met one of his guys on a plane once. He's a Stanford educated fellow who, with a suit and an American twang and all that. And then, took out his card and his Patanjali. And I was like, wow, this guy talk about the image. He really understood his image. So he plays this card of being this very rustic philosopher, sadhu, swami, all that, and all his, tricks and that he does, physical things with yoga and all that. But he's really astute. And under him are all these MBAs and double MBAs and triple MBAs. And he's got businesses all over the world, including Scotland. He owns half the country, apparently. So I love guys who really... they do what they want to do without worrying about convention. So he can be who he is, but actually he's very conventional because he's running a huge empire through the normal process with all these guys under him.
And sometimes things happen where you don't expect them to. Because you mentioned him, I must tell you, and I also mentioned that in 2011, I'd overworked myself and, I went through this panic and anxiety attack phase. And while, of course, my uncle who's a doctor, he gave me a few pills, which really, really helped. But you'll be amazed that somebody actually told me that, why don't you start doing some of the pranayam that Baba Ramdev teaches? And I got this DVD and I started doing it. And I kid you not, whatever the world may say and whatever his business interests are, but it helped me enormously. And that made me realize why there are really these millions of people, hoarding outside his ashrams. And so I think the things that he's doing, I'm not talking about the products. I've never tried them, and and I have no comment or endorsement or anything against them. But I think the sheer yoga element of what he teaches, it's worked for me. So I love your choice of your selection.
Also, just be careful. The cure for homosexuality has not been proven. Not that there should be one. That's another story. But I'm just be careful of that.
Why, Cyrus? Why would you talk about that?
I don't know. But I'm just saying that in spite of everything, what I really like about the guy, there's lots not to like also. I'm not a huge fan about certain things, but what I like about the fact is he walks his walk without any fear. And he does that. And then that translates into success. While most people are always worried about how they look, but he doesn't care about that. And under that is an astute mind that built an empire. It's not like he's a sadhu disconnected from us because we don't dress like him and don't have long beards and can't do triple somersaults with one leg up in the air, scratching your ear, which Silvery you can do. And one day it'll be famous on a talent site close to your heart, hopefully. Yeah. All right. Can we squeeze in one more? We've taken too
Yes.
much time of Vinny.
No,
It's
let's do.
10:55.
Can you do one more? Yeah,
Oh.
we have one very good one. That's why. So we should do this. This one comes from Siddharth Dabhowale. He says, "How do you know if you have or do not have the temperament for running a startup? Obviously, everyone can involve, but some people just don't have the temperament. What do you think?
The stomach for it.
The
No, it's a
temperament.
very
Yeah,
it's a very good question, and I think it's not just true for entrepreneurship. I think it is true for almost every career choice that you make in life. To give you an example, when I was back in school, my mom and dad wanted me to become a doctor. And while, of course, we all know the whole medical community, and there's so much respect and love for them. But I thank God that I failed in my PMT exam after class 12, because I had just don't have the temperament to become one. So the good thing over here about entrepreneurship is that it's not very few families. I don't know, maybe some, of those sweet Gujarati families might do it. But otherwise, you don't really have families which push you into entrepreneurship. It's normally, from most of the people that I've met, it's normally a self, decided path that people choose to take. And there are, reasons why they do that. I'll give you my own example. When I passed out of MBA, I was working with General Electric, and it's a wonderful company. I just worked there for 6 months, but I think some of the most key lessons about, about business and operating in corporate organizations and multinational culture, I gathered from there. But I also must confess that despite all the wonderful human resource practices at GE, I used to feel like this, and I've described this in one of my books. I don't remember the page number, Cyrus, but I've written about it in one of my books, where I've said that I used to feel like a small ball bearing in a massive iron and steel plant, where I didn't matter. If you took me away, I would be replaced faster than people replace printers. And, it was something that I really, really felt, I wasn't making a difference. And which is why I felt that what if I'm able to create even 1,000th of this mega corporation, but it's something that I have done. So that was my reason. The cautionary note over here is that sometimes people mistake a sense of adventurism for temperament. Anybody who's getting into entrepreneurship or the world of startups because you think it's exciting, it's good, it's youthful, it's energetic, it creates enormous amount of money in a very short time, it's less boring than a job, it's less hard work than a job, you're more in control, you don't have a boss. Please shed those misconceptions very, very quickly. Your entrepreneurship career will demand 10x of what your regular job today demands. So if you're going in with these false sense, like we just had a friend who asked us about advertising, is it this easy-going, informal place? There are these, we all have these stereotypes about careers. And unfortunately, I meet a lot of young entrepreneurs who seem to be getting into entrepreneurship as if it's a mix of wealth creation and excitement and entertainment. It's exactly diametrically the opposite. And the first dollar of wealth that will come your way will be a decade later, even if you're very, very fortunate and very, very talented. So you really have to be sure of your reasons why you want to become an entrepreneur. If you really feel that there is a certain business idea or a certain segment of the market where you really can disrupt and make a difference, and you are passionate about it, and you feel that you'll be able to create value for yourself, your employees, and your shareholders along the way, please go ahead. But it's not an amusement park.
But there's one truth here, Silvery, which we must say when we get people who are super successful and have been pioneers. One thing is there, everyone cannot be Vineet Bajpai. I think they should first, it's nice to hear a story, but you're not going to have that same path. After 2 years, you'll be saying, I have a startup, but it's not following the way his is followed. The path is totally not exactly the same. So I think we should also, the misconception that when you watch Tendulkar, you pick up a bat, you don't become Tendulkar. You get inspired by him, yes, but you do your own thing. So I think they have to understand that whoever's listening, if anyone's still listening, because now it's become a lecture and people are taking Patanjali products to get through it. They're applying the wrong ones in the wrong orifices. The next thing you know, we'll have a revolution. And this agitation will go beyond Delhi, I'll tell you that. As we end, I just want to ask you one question. So a 4G kid, what's happening? And this is disconnected from anything. I feel I have a lot of 4G friends, and I feel that this whole generation of 4G kids, and you're talking about generations of guys in a family who served in the Air Force or Army or Navy. It's almost like that whole thing is just broken now. And then it's almost like the fathers are saying, don't come into the army or the military anymore. Go find something else. Is that a fair comment?
Cyrus, it's a very sensitive and controversial topic. And I don't know if I'm, competent enough to comment on it. But I definitely feel that we just saw. I don't want to bore the audience, but we just saw the whole OROP protest happen, one rank, one pay, where we saw retired armed forces people, doing dharnas and actually asking for, what they and I think rightly feel is their right.
Yeah.
So when a country really, and the fact of the matter is that it's not as if the government is not doing anything, because there have been some really good, the whole OROP thing, which was in the icebox for the last 30 years, has been brought out by the current regime, and they're doing a lot. But I really feel that if there is a country where the soldier has to come and ask, for his rights, or has to, really do a procession to get the attention of the leadership, I think we are anyway going wrong. So that is something that I feel as a society we need to correct. But the day your doctors, your soldiers, the day they start protesting and they feel they're being, sidelined, I think that's we all need to, pause and just, just take a look at what's going on.
I think we need to get a veteran on. Huh? This is a topic we can't skirt. We have to talk about it a little bit. Silvery.
Yeah,
Well,
sure.
Vinny will help us
Work on
find
this.
someone. Don't worry.
Yeah, absolutely.
For and against. But in the meantime, Vinny, it's been a
Before-
great talk. Oh, you want to do a quick one? Is he okay?
Before we end, just a couple of things. Firstly, a lot of people are asking Cyrus why you are topless. We addressed it in the beginning of the previous recording, but we did not address it in this one. So could you just talk about that for a second?
Yeah, well, the whole story is I'm in Alibag right now, and it's the Wi-Fi is only working under this sunny area, and there's not much choice. I tried, but I'm just dripping with sweat with the shirt on. So since it was Vineet, I thought Vineet will be a cool guy, not get too offended. I asked him. He said, "Take off everything, make yourself at home. Shoot the pillar while you're talking. Nobody cares."
Touch wood as many times as you want.
Touch wood as many times. Yeah, but he won't become Vineet Bajpayee. Just follow your own path. Do you want to do one more? We're done.
No, we're done. Just a couple of things again. Sorry. Please like the stream. Please subscribe to the channel, and please rate us on Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts. Rate, review us there. It really helps a lot. Thank you so much, Cyrus. Please.
All right, Vineet, have a good day. Thank you for your wonderful story, and for Patanjali people out there, if they want to sponsor the show. Hello.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much, Cyrus. Thank you, Silvery. It was an absolute pleasure. And I really, really enjoyed myself. And I'll always remember this session, Cyrus, because I've been such a fan, and it's such an opportunity for me to be on the same screen with you.
The Tendulkar of entrepreneurship. Remember that.
Oh, thank you so